Thank you for joining us today, Samir.
Thanks for having me and Capita, Max.
Great to have you. I want to dig into one point today that I've noticed working with you over the last 2 years or so. A lot of your, I would say, other players in the market really think about their tech stack very much, bottom up, from the chips up to the front end. I think you approach it fundamentally different. You approach it essentially top down with a process first lens. And I think that's also partially driven by the fact that your customers or clients come to you expecting you to handle and deliver outcomes across very complex processes. Can you go a little bit more into detail on how you think about that?
Let's talk about what's happening in the industry. I'm old enough to remember 2007 when the cloud first came about. And what did cloud do? It really took compute and storage infinite. It made it elastic. It made it available pretty much 24/7, 365 for anyone who wanted to use it. And what's happening right now is a bigger shift than that. We're at a point where labor can go infinite. Labor can be scalable, and labor can be available 24/7, 365 across the globe on demand. And that, if you believe the numbers out there, and I do, is 1,000 times bigger than what happened in the cloud revolution. And so when you talk about labor going infinite, you really want to look at what labor does. What are the high value outcomes that labor delivers? So we started with a customer first approach and really trying to understand what do our employees deliver to the UK citizenry through very hard work for the last few decades. What do they actually do? What outcomes do they deliver? And we started seeing that 60, 70, 80% is repetitive work, but now it's the opportunity to take away all of that mind-numbing work from our employees and allow them to focus on the high-value, empathetic items. But that starts with understanding what actually gets done. You could go look at a standard operating procedure, but that only will give you a starting point. There will be 1,000 variants of that theme in production. And so capturing that telemetry of work that exists in our people's brains, that exists in their everyday routines that they execute. And then using that to agentify through a low-code platform is really where we are focusing. And we're relying on our technology partners, the hyperscalers and the data platform partners, to give us the platform to look at the telemetry of work, to understand it, to agentify it, and to increase the throughput and productivity of our employees. So think of it as a very diametrically opposing approach. We love the fact that there is trillions of dollars of investment going into the chips, into the platforms, into the data centers. Without that, we couldn't do what we do. But our value is going to come when we understand work, how to agentify work, and how to increase the throughput and the job satisfaction of our employees, which then translates to more satisfied citizens, lower waiting times in the UK market. And that's the stat we're rolling out. And I must say that this is one of the most exciting rollouts I've been part of. And it's really resonating in the market. And thank you for all your help putting it together.
Thank you. It's great to see the journey and the focus you have on the outcomes that you deliver to your clients. Thank you, Samir.
Thank you, Max, for having us again.